Welcome, everyone. Happy 2026. I hope your new year is off to a fantastic start. I'm Reneika Lightbourne with Advanta IRA, and I'm really looking forward to today's webinar. As always, we appreciate you taking the time to join us for our educational content. Today, we're specifically focusing on how you can use retirement dollars to structure, finance, and scale into real estate projects, specifically tiny homes and micro communities, and even larger deals as well. I want to say a special thank you to our featured speaker, Mr. Rashad Jones-Jennings. He is the chairman and CEO of Post Pro Capital. My apologies. Also, I want to say a special thank you to his team as well. Rashad specialized in real estate, specifically in acquisition, management, structuring multi-million-dollar deals, and has over $100 million in development projects. So, Rashad, again, I appreciate you being our speaker.
Thanks for having me. I always love to present to your group. It's a great group, and hopefully I can educate everyone on how to on the tiny home space. And looking forward to answering all your questions. Just I like to do my presentation a little differently. I don't want to be up here just talking at you. I want it to be interactive, more so like a fireside chat. So as I'm going through the slides, if you have questions, definitely ask. That'll help me with my flow. And yeah, so let's get into it.
Okay, and before I turn it over, just really quickly, just a brief synopsis about Advanta and who we are. So we're the nation's leading self-directed IRA custodian, simply mean that we work with you and as investors and also investment providers that's looking to use retirement funds to invest in the likes of real estate, private equity, and so much more. So just anything related to alternative investments inside of your retirement account. We have well over $3.5 billion under our administration or our custody. Our headquarters is located in Clearwater, Florida. Advanta also have an office here in Atlanta, which is where I'm located, but we do work with clients nationwide. Just a little quick disclaimer before we get started. Just please know that at Advanta, we don't give you any tax, legal, or investment advice. All of the information that's going to be presented today is for educational purposes. So as always, we encourage you, please do your due diligence. Please consult with your professional team and before you make any investments. After today's presentation, if you have additional questions or you want to kind of start your self-directed IRA journey, you're always welcome to give me a call. You can certainly, send me an email as well. I would also encourage you to please go to our website, advantaira.com. It's a great resource for you, but also you can schedule a consultation with myself or any of my colleagues as well. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rashad. But again, if you have questions, feel free to put those in the question box and we'll get those answered as we go.
Hey, once again, thanks for having me. Today, I'm going to go over, tiny home developments. And also, we'll briefly touch on everything else that we have going on and how we got to that point. And we'll go over a little bit about myself as well. On this particular tiny home project, we have 3 different models, the gold, silver, and the platinum. They range from 520 square feet on the silver, 630 square feet on the gold, and 815 square feet on the platinum. And the silver is just a loft, and we tier it up. The gold is a 1-bedroom and a loft, and then the platinum is a 2-bedroom. So on this one, we actually had a 2-bedroom model, and a lot of people are liking that. We have 20 of those units, 14 of the golds, and then 8 of the silver. That's what we start now with. We can actually build in the denominations that we want. We're just going to go with what the market wants. But on paper, for our pro forma, we had to allocate it so we can get some real numbers down. Next slide, please. Yeah, so a little bit about me. We currently have a $60 million development pipeline, one being the 42-unit tiny home community. We also have 34 townhome project that's going to be started down the line, and we'll break those up into phases. That's across 3 different sites, 16 units, 14 units, and then another 4 units. Then next door to this particular tiny home deal, we have 71 tiny home unit community coming for phase 2. That'll be a more scaled down project, not as many luxury finishes. We're going for a target price point to try to help people with affordable housing. And we're looking to partner with the city to do a public-private partnership, which is a P3 structure. So we are able to, allocate a certain number of these units for people under the 100% AMI, 100% AMI. So, if you don't know, I played 8 years professional basketball and retired at the age of 30 due to injury. Led the nation in rebounding. Was my conference student athlete of the year. And a lot of people ask me, they congratulate me on the rebound award. But looking back, I think being a student athlete of the year was a more prestigious award because it's across all conferences. I mean, not it's across all sports, not just basketball. It's basketball, football, baseball, track, wrestling, golf, everything that you can name. And to get student athlete of the year, that says something on the academic side as well as the athletic side. I've lived in 22 different countries throughout my basketball career. Um, Germany, France, Ukraine, all in Asia, Singapore, Taiwan, South Korea, and also Latin American countries, Mexico, Venezuela, Argentina, Chile, Dominican Republic, you name it. So I've been all around the world, well traveled, and I love adapting to the different cultures. And that I use that to my advantage today, being able to talk with pretty much anyone and have a conversation with anyone. Let's get into my investment philosophy. One thing that I do, and this is critical, and this is why we go into most deals with equity. I buy undervalued land and increase the value through rezoning and getting more density of that land. I always go for the highest and best use, and I never do a marginal deal. I would have to have to be able to build a project 1.5 times. That's what CTB means, cost to build. The numbers have to make sense and say, hey, I can build this 1.5 times and still make a profit or break even. If it doesn't clear that test, we don't even move forward with it. I have to be excited about worst case scenarios. I always stress test my deals. And when I say stress test, that means I'm being real with the numbers, not being overly optimistic about the numbers. The number has to work. The numbers have to work on worst case scenario. Never forcing a deal. Not wanting to do a deal so bad that you overlook things. When I underwrite a deal, I'm looking for a reason to not do the deal. And if I can't come up with reasons, we move forward with it. Because you'll hear me say this a lot. I know there's a saying that says numbers don't lie, but numbers do lie. You can make the numbers look like what you want them to make them look like because the numbers don't talk back. And we'll get into that a little bit more into the slide. Next slide.
Okay, Rashad, a couple questions that came in. It says, how did you decide on the minimum square footage?
How did I decide on the minimum square footage? Well, I wanted to try to create something for everyone. I knew that the 520 square foot one will be for someone that's probably single. So we have 8 of those. And then we got the glass house, which is the gold. I call that the glass house because it's got a glass front. The 630 square feet one, that was the most requested, not that particular floor plan, but that amount of square footage on my previous development. As we looking at this slide, the Valentina, which was 630 square feet, the Valentina named after my mother, that was the most requested size of the model. So I definitely wanted to get another 630 in there. And I thought to myself, I said, hey, the reason why people wanted the 630 maybe is because there wasn't any 800s available. So then I wanted to do a 800 square feet one. So I took the 400 square feet one off the table because that was the least requested. And we added an 800 square feet one. So that's how I came up with the sizes. And, and we'll see what how the market reacts to that.
Okay. A couple more questions really quick before you go to the next slide. It says, where are your projects located?
These are in Chattanooga, Tennessee. These are in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and that's my hometown. And like I said, we pretty much control the entire side of town, entire street. I own about 45 acres, and everything is already permit ready and ready to go. All the hard work has been done. The city council meetings, the city planning meetings, the meetings with the neighbors, everything, all the hard work has been done. Now it's just time to produce and complete the projects.
Okay, a couple more questions. Really quick, it says, I'm a lender and the minimum square footage is usually 600 square feet. So that was more so a comment.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Because I've met with some banks, and they have minimums as well. So we've had not issues, but we just can't go through that bank. So I'm using the same lender. I'm using the same lender that was the lender on my previous project, and we're not going to have any issues. We didn't have any issues last time. Because different lenders can do different things. Every lending house has their own set of rules. So, you know, if they can't fund the 520 square feet one, we have lenders who can.
Okay. Do you want me to keep on
And
asking questions or you want to go to the
yeah,
next
no,
one?
that's fine. That's fine. They're engaged. I like that.
Okay, yeah, great questions. Keep them coming. The next question is, how did you come up with the plan for the tiny homes?
Well, so that's a great question as well, right? So I started out as a realtor, and back in 2015, if I had a buyer who was approved for 200,000 or 250,000, that was money in the bank. That was a sale. We could go out and find a property, get them placed in a property. They're happy. I get my commission. I'm happy. But what's happened over time is taxes have gone up, prices have gone up, everything has gone up except wages. So as everything is going up and wages are not going up, your affordability is being squeezed. So now, if you have a $200,000 or $250,000 approval, I mean that's a teardown. You will have to do a 203K loan and renovate it and things like that. So this is basically creating a product for people to come off the sidelines with 200, 250,000 and up to 300,000 and under approvals. So we basically created a product for a market that's sitting on the sideline with pre-approvals with nothing to buy.
Okay. Next question is, what are your financial goals?
My financial goals, I haven't really set financial goals specifically. Of course, I want to do well, but I'm on a mission. This is me going back and revitalizing my neighborhood. I grew up in the projects and I grew up in a war zone, and I want to go back and make the neighborhood better. One of our missions is to turn hoods back into neighborhoods. That's why we brought back the car wash that was shut down for 7 years. I purchased the car wash, I renovated it, and now it's been up and running for the last 2.5 years, and we plan to keep it running. We've also, another thing that I do as a developer is, and a lot of people may not know this, is each municipality has a 10-year plan. So I go in and read the 10-year plan and know what the city wants. So I know what we need on this side of town. We need a grocery store and a bank. That's on the table, So this is more so a mission. And this is another thing that we have an impact investment club where our slogan is make a profit while making a difference. So not only will you be getting a return on your capital, not saying for this group, but you'll also be making an impact. Like it's more so like a feel good project. So I haven't really thought about my personal financial goals. I mean, I've played pro sports. I have investments. So I mean, we do pretty well, but I just haven't sat down and you know went over that.
Okay. Next one is there a minimum amount of acreage needed to develop for development?
No, that's not a minimum amount. We just completed a 4 unit townhome development on 0.17 acres. That's less than a fifth of an acre. And we got 4 units out of that. So it all depends, and that's a great question because this is what I teach in my private community. One of the things that you can do, one of the things that I did, I took I took the zoning plan and I downloaded it into my chat GPT. And the reason why that's significant because it lets me know the lot minimums of each zoning. And then it lets me know how many units I can get on that particular property. So I'm able to underwrite a deal pretty quickly Whereas I would have had to call the city, ask for the minimum lot square footage, or go through the actual document. So now, if as long as you meet the setback requirements and the minimum lot square footage, you can get as much density as you can fit on that, as long as you are within the setbacks and you're within that minimum lot square footage.
Okay, great. The next question is, how much the price for each models?
Okay, so the 520 is 229,000. The 630 square foot one is 285,000, and the platinum is 309,000. But we have to realize that these are not just cookie cutter homes with Home Depot materials. We have pivot doors, floating stairs, um, tongue and groove on the ceiling in the house. Like these are more luxury model finishes versus just your builder grade or contractor grade homes. I would look at this as a detached luxury condo. But next door, we're gonna be doing more craftsman style, and we're gonna get the prices down lower than that. We're gonna probably stay under that 250 mark for all the models. We'll probably have 5 different models on that one.
Okay, it says, would you consider a partnership in Atlanta or other Georgia markets?
Yes, I would. It has to be the right partnership and the right feel, and we gotta have the right synergies, and most importantly, integrity and principles. Because everybody looks at life differently, and it's just I've had bad experiences with partners in the past, so it has to mesh and make sense. So let's explore that, but we don't have to rush into it.
Okay. Yeah, so this webinar is recorded. It's going to be uploaded onto our YouTube channel later today, or with at least within 24 business hours. You'll also get a copy of it as well. Really quick, Rashad, next question is, what are your thought process on choosing a developer or builder?
My thought process on choosing a developer or builder. Well, you got, like I said, I mean, it boils down to integrity and principles. What does that person stand for? I mean, I on my last development, I fired the first 3 general contractors, and then after that, I did it myself. I'm not a general contractor on paper, but I pretty much know more than them because I've actually done one, and outside of just passing a test. So what I did on this one, I brought an in-house GC. I brought an in-house GC, and I'm the developer on it. But you just got to have someone that see what they stand for, see what they made of. Like I said, I use a lot of sports analogies. And when you play basketball with somebody, you can tell a lot about them, the archetype of the person. You can tell if they're selfish. You can tell if they fold under pressure. You can tell if they're a team player. You can tell how they react in different situations. So the same thing with vetting a contractor or a general contractor. Definitely check references, because it's a lot of smoke and mirrors out here, and a lot of times you don't know what's what until it's too late.
Okay. Next question is, do you have in-person classes in your area, or do you have to travel or, speak in, like, is it online? How does that
Yeah,
work?
so we have an online community, and then we also have meetups as well. If My team is on here, if you can drop a link to the online community in the chat, definitely. We're in there daily, documenting our process, giving information. So as we're going through developments, we're showing you how to do what we're doing. And like we invite our investors in there so they can earn while they learn. They may want to do this on their own one day. So while they're invested in a deal, they can learn how to do this themselves. So they'll drop a link in there, and you can go check it out. But I mean, we're just in there educating every day, and it's not just me; it's my team as well. So Stephanie would tell how to run the operations side. My GC would show you the construction side. My partnership person would show you how to be out and build a relationship with the mayor and the city council members, because all of that is needed for development. It's not just showing up and building. You need the neighbors on your team. You need the city council on your team. You need to have the right vision. You need to make sure that there's a need for it. It's a lot of boxes that you have to check, in this development thing.
Okay, great questions, everyone. Rashad, you can continue with the slide.
Okay, so on this slide right here that we're looking at, talks about our mission and vision. Our mission is to go in and revitalize communities. If you look at that top picture, that is we have the first 11 houses up on my last previous development, which is now complete. And if you look at that bottom picture, this is one of my coaches. He actually recruited me. One of my coaches that recruited me to go to college, and he's still in my life today. 22 years later, we actually spent New Year's Eve together. So he was invested in this project and is invested in the this current project. It just goes to show he's coming back and seeing one of his former players do after life after the game. So I thought that was good to have that picture there just to show my support from my people who knew me when I was basically a kid. But yeah, I don't want to go bore y'all with the mission and vision. But our goal is to go back in and revitalize communities and turn hoods back into neighborhoods, and hopefully to inspire other people, other athletes to go back and do this in their neighborhoods. And that way we create a ripple effect of doing good. You can go to the next slide. Yeah, so on this just shows me the contrast of when we first started versus when it was finished. Being out there 7 days a week, I had the contractors come out there on Sundays because we was just hell bent on getting this project completed and successful. On the left, I'm right there standing on some material, some OSB as we're building house number 2 or 3, and on the right, you can see the community full-fledged finish. Straight ahead, that was my unit. I had a Valentina 630 square foot unit that I sold, and a lot of people were asking about, they was worried about the appraisal. So on average, we sold these for about 215,000. But when I sold my unit, it actually appraised for 236,000. So it appraised for more than we was actually selling them for.
Okay, a
Oh,
couple quick.
oh,
Go
oh,
ahead.
okay. One last thing before we go to the questions. What I have written there in white, that's crucial. A bad operator can make a bad deal. So you want to make sure you're working with someone who knows what they're doing. Um, that's critical because if the numbers can look good on paper, but if you're working with a bad operator, like it does not matter. So you need to make sure that the person that's operating a deal knows what they're doing. They have integrity, and they're going to put the team the team in front of their own personal interests. But go ahead, Reneika, you can go ahead.
Okay, a couple questions. There's 3 questions that popped in. It says, what is your long-term goal in 5 to 10 years? And they love your success.
Oh, thank you. So my long-term goal, one, would be to finish what we have on our plate, building out these 250 homes. And eventually, of course, I have developer goals. I want to start. I want to eventually build towers and skyscrapers and stuff like that. Because I mean, that's the natural progression, right? But I mean, that's one of my goals. Also, just to keep investing. You know, revitalizing and turning around these neighborhoods because it's more than just a project at that point. A lot of people ask me, like, man, why you work so long or work so hard? I'm like, well, it's not work to me. I'm on a mission. I created this. It's not like I'm forced to do this or that. I could have stayed flipping houses and, if I wanted to, but this is more so a bigger mission because it's not just about a project. I'm inspiring other kids where we have a youth developer program. I'm inspiring other kids to get into these different vehicles in real estate. I mean, you don't have to be me because I know that's a lot being a developer. But every time I do a deal, I got about 30 people to pay. I got to pay an appraiser, inspector, roofer, all the subcontractors, an attorney, civil engineer, architect, going down the line. So I'm basically exposing and giving them access to what's possible. Because when I was young, I didn't know that this was an option. I didn't know that you could be a developer. I never even seen a real estate professional. So it's more so about giving them access and exposure to what's out there besides, being in entertainment or playing pro sports. This right here is financial projections for this deal. We got an all-in cost. We rounded that up to 8 million because I added another 200,000 to the contingency for surprises. And then we have a $12 million sales volume, giving us about about a $4 million gross, and we probably net about 3 million. And then we start paying back, some of our investors. So these are the numbers as a whole. The numbers haven't changed, even though I went back in and tweaked the prices of the units. It still averaged out to about $12 million sales volume, so nothing really changed. But and we're going to tweak the prices again, because what I realized is once we did a study on the structures, they're actually bigger than I've advertised. So the 520 is more like 575. The 630 is more like 703 square feet. And then the 800 square feet is more like 880 square feet. So those will be tweaked again. And not saying that we want to raise the prices up, but it's going to cost more to build. So we have to raise it up a little bit more as well. So, but we've gotten a great response from people around the country, not just in Chattanooga. I got a call from a lady in Florida, said she was tired of the hurricanes. She said, as soon as I get a house up, make sure I call her because she's going to move from Florida. She said she's tired of going through the hurricane stuff. So people are willing to move, and the tiny home it's a specific niche because you don't see these on every corner. You see townhomes on every corner. You see single family homes on every corner. But the people who love tiny home and the tiny home enthusiasts, they'll get up and move. And like, not only is this just about structures, this is an actual community. It's going to be gated. It's going to have a walking trail, dog parks. We're going to have a meditation garden, um, and gazebos and things like that. So it's going to be a full-fledged, it's like its own oasis in the middle of the city. Oh, we're going to have EV chargers as well. So everybody with the Teslas and the Rivians and the EV cars, we got something for you too.
Okay, a couple quick questions. It says, if you will cover this later, then please wait. But it says, what is the minimum?
The minimum what?
I guess investment. I'm not
Okay,
sure
so
that
the
question.
so the minimum investment is 50,000. But we have taken less. So I mean that's more so on a case by case basis. But the reason why it's 50,000 because I'm the one who actually does the paperwork, and it gets a lot. But on a case by case basis, just reach out if you're interested, and we can make something happen.
Okay, a follow-up question to that is, what kind of ROI percentage can be expected for investors?
So anywhere from depending on the investment. So we've done 15% recently, we've done 20% recently. And one of the offers that I came out with, because I'm trying to finish up this raise, is if you came with a 500,000 or more, we would do 25%. And the reason why I'm able to do that, one, is because the deal can withstand that, and two, I I 100% want to be done with this raise so we can pivot and start focusing on getting these structures up. We got materials orders coming in, and just pivoting. We want to close this chapter. This is the last phase of the capital raise. And the way you raise capital in development is different from what you do in any other investment in development. And I just did a video on this. You raise the capital in phases because it's three phases. You got the acquisition phase and your due diligence phase. That's phase one. So you raise the money to acquire the property and to do some due diligence, your soil testing and everything. And then you got phase two. Phase two is where you're starting to bring on your vendors, your architect, your attorney, your civil engineer, your surveyor, stuff like that. You start paying them out. And then the third phase is when you want to start getting that first wave of construction going so you can bring in an institutional lender. And we're right here at the third phase. We're finishing out the site work. We're getting ready to go vertical with the structures. We just passed our sewer test, which is key because now that we passed our sewer test, we can get our building permits. Now we can start building the structures and finishing up the site work. So we can have multiple subs on the site all at once, and we'll superset it. And like I said, I'm making these guys go 7 days a week, and because we want to try to be done with this in 10 months. On paper, it'll say 12 months, but we want to under promise and over deliver. But the
And
hard work has been done, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So okay, so on this slide, we talk about market analysis. Before I go into a market, I look at three things: job growth, population growth, and housing need. And this one checks all the boxes. And I'm not just saying this because Chattanooga, my hometown. All of this information is Googleable, and you can go through ChatGPT as well. Chattanooga was actually just voted the 11th most moved to city in 2025. And my team sent me something this morning that, and if I butcher this, put it in the chat, that we're the number three destination with all the infrastructure that we have and all the attractions that we have. We're number three in destination cities. So, we got a lot of good stuff going on. It's great infrastructure here. And, we have a need. We're 5,000 units short. And we're 5,000 units short, and we're playing under the average median sales price. So we got those things working for us. We got job growth and population growth as well. You can go to the next slide.
Okay, really quick, it says, do you suggest tiny homes or townhomes for community? And how do you help with keeping crime and drugs out of the community?
That's a great question. So I came up with this brilliant idea, right? Um, So we're working with Invest Chattanooga, where we allocate a certain number of the units for affordable housing. At the 80% AMI mark, that's when you got your police officers, firefighters, nurses, and teachers and city workers, right? So we're giving incentives mainly. I mean, we're giving incentives to all of them, but we're also giving incentives to police officers to move into these communities and encourage them to be out there and with their police cars. But we encourage community policing and prevention and working together. So that's how we plan to curb the crime and all that stuff. But also too, another thing, when you bring more homeowners into an area, it changes the dynamic of a neighborhood. I guarantee you, any BS that's going on in neighborhoods, it's not homeowners that's doing it. More than likely, I'm not down in renters, but it's because when you own it, you take care of stuff better. So we're bringing 42 new homeowners in this area, and they already have a strong neighborhood association. I've had about 8 meetings with this particular neighborhood association, so they're active and they're dialed in, and we're gonna that's part of the revitalization.
Okay, next question is, just bear with me one moment. It says, how many new tiny homes are built and the projected completion date? I think you mentioned 10 months, but asking how many new tiny homes are built and your completion date.
Yes, so 42 tiny homes currently. We're gonna be completed within 12 months. My personal goal off paper is 10 months. And next door that's connected to this property, I own another 29 acres to do 71 tiny homes. 10 of those acres are not buildable. So we're going to turn that into a park down the line. But 71 structures is going to be in the 10 acres that I'm not able to use. We're going to turn that into a park. So all of this will be connected. It'll be walkable. And like I said, it's going to inspire other people to want to do good and keep it up. And we have an HOA as well, so I'll always be a part of that community. I have a unit out here as well, so yeah.
Okay, question is, are there any pre-sales?
We paused pre-sales because we wanted to focus on getting these structures up. I have zero doubt in my mind that we're going to sell these out. Once we get our marketing campaign going, like I said, we went viral several times on TikTok and Instagram when we put these up. But we hadn't got to building the structures yet. It's a little different from Atlanta. Atlanta people have a lot more disposable income and they move a little faster. But in Chattanooga, once we get one of each of the structures up and we stage them, we're going to market them and then we're going to start pre-sales then.
Okay, question was, they said I missed it, but what's the city? I think you referenced Chattanooga, but you've done projects in Atlanta as well.
Yes, yes, yes. So I've done projects. When I was a realtor, I operated in both markets. I was a realtor in Chattanooga and Atlanta. When I started flipping in Chattanooga and Atlanta. When I started building single houses, I started building in Chattanooga and Atlanta. So I've had the same schedule I'm down here a couple of days. I'm in Chattanooga a couple of days. I've had that same schedule since I was a realtor. And I had someone ask me a couple months ago. They was like, "Man, that's a gruesome schedule." I'm like, "Well, not really, because I was doing this. I was doing this when I was getting $3,000 commission checks. So of course I can do it now when the mission is way bigger. I just listen to audiobooks on the ride. I just make that ride valuable. I'm either on the phone making calls or I'm listening to audiobooks or podcasts.
Okay. We'll go to the next slide. There's a few more
Yes.
questions, but I want to get through the slides.
Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. So this right here, this is giving a breakdown of what's been spent. Acquisition costs, I paid 160,000 for the property. I'm on interest only payments, so let's round it off to about 200K, which is still a deal. I should have paid about 600K for this deal. Soft costs is about 600,000. The site work was 1.8 million. The construction is about 6 million, and we got a profit margin that's gross of about 4 million. We probably net somewhere around 2.8 to 3 million once everything's paid back. Next slide.
Okay, should be.
This is a brochure that we pass out when we go to different events and masterminds. This just shows the different floor plans, what's in them. These prices have changed since we made this, so don't put too much emphasis on the prices. But this is the silver plan there at the bottom. We got the gold plan in the middle, and then we got the platinum plan right there on the right. You go to the next slide.
Okay, a couple questions that just popped in. It says, how did you become educated in this field, and what were your first steps?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Well, I think being involved in real estate on every level, it was all cumulative. I started going to conferences. My first conference I went to was a shopping center conference. So I've always invested in my education. I've done free education, paid education, YouTube. And I think everything that I've learned has been a collective. You know, I read a lot of books, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I watch successful people. So that's how I got educated on this. And also, too, going back, when me having to fire those first three general contractors, I was forced to learn the site work side of this game because I knew how to build a structure. I knew contracts. I knew how to underwrite deals. Like I knew everything besides the site work. And then once I fired them, I was forced to learn the site work side of it. So I was out there every day. That's why I was out there 7 days a week. Because when you're doing something for the first time, I mean, you don't know all you only know what you know, right? So I forced myself to be out there every day. I'm watching my contractors. I'm asking questions. I'm out there helping them. We got over about 900 videos on YouTube where you can see this. I'll jump on the machines. I'll be in the ditches with them. Just learning every aspect of what goes on, and that kind of helps shape my overall knowledge of it.
Okay, quick comment before we go to the next question. It says, "This is unreal. You overly inspired me to keep with my goals to turn it." So it says to turn it into a mission. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, I appreciate that, man, and that's what we're here for. I want to definitely inspire people who want to do this as well. We're not gatekeeping. Anything you want to know, like we go over everything in the community. We just drop everything because it's my thing is if someone wants to do this, we want to provide you with the information to do it because it's definitely doable. And like I said, if I wanted to get to the investing side. Like I started out as a realtor, but I wanted to get to the investing side as quick as possible. And I want to help people who want to do the same thing.
Okay. Question is, parks are not profitable, correct? Is that built into the profit, or is that a way for your giving back to the community?
Yeah, so that's not more so of a profit thing. We have a nonprofit. So what we'll do, right? So on that 11 acres, so I told you I had 18 acres, and then it's 11 acres north of that, but 10 of those acres are not buildable. So what we're gonna do, we're able to build like 7 houses across the bottom of that piece of land, and then probably another 7 houses at the other top of it. In the middle, since it's so steep, we can't build on it. So we're gonna subdivide that that's going to be a part of the 71 units, and I'll still own the part that I can't build on. So with my nonprofit, we'll turn that into a park. So that's kind of how that works. That's not so much of a profit thing. It's just to one, make the community walkable, and Chattanooga has become a park city, and you could kind of check that out as well. I think we became the first national park city. So the current mayor of Chattanooga, he wants to turn all unused land. We want to have a park in every nook and cranny of the city. So this just goes along with that initiative, and me repurposing some land that's considered unusable and turning it into a park.
Okay, question is, what is the rate you're paying on the interest rate? So what's the interest rate you're paying?
Yeah, so that depends on the investment. We're paying around 20% right now on investments. But if you were to come in at 500K or more, we'll pay 25%. And like I said, we're able to do that because the deal can withstand it. I don't have any partners on the deal. I do have limited partners. I currently own about 70% of the deal, and because I gave away pieces along the way to get to this point. But now that the risk is taken out the deal, we're just mainly doing debt.
Okay, a question just popped in on that. It says, who's the current senior debt with?
Well, we got the senior. So we've raised capital from private investors. So when you say senior debt, it's not a lot. The guy who helped me acquire the property, we got about 130K mortgage with him, and then I have another $500,000 line of credit. So we pay that off. That's 630K. And then if someone was to come in with 3 million or 4 million, they'll be in first lien position. But other than that, that's the only senior debt that we have on this deal.
Okay, and really quickly, circle back into the loan question. It says, I was referring to the loans you're paying, sorry, not the actual interest rate paying back to investors. So
So
there.
so yeah, that 30%, those are basically equity partners. It's a hybrid structure. They get a 10% pref, and they get to participate in the upside of the deal. So they're more so equity partners. So I don't have a payout with them until the project is complete, and their interest just accrues year over year as long as their capital is deployed.
Okay, thank you. We can go to the next slide.
Okay. All right, so this right here on the left just shows my pro forma, how we got to the 7.8 million. It also breaks down the denomination of the units, 20 of the 815, 14 of the 630 square feet, and then 8 of the 520 square feet. The total square foot to build is 29,000 square feet. And I know a lot of times when I say 42 homes and people say, hey, how are you going to complete that in 10 to 12 months? Well, it's 42 tiny homes. So in totality, we're only building 30,000 square feet. If you break that down, that's like building 11, 2,200 square foot homes. So, it's by square footage. We could frame it in a day and a half. We could put the roof on in a day. And if you have multiple crews, we can really kind of put this on the assembly line and get through it pretty quickly. Not rushing, but efficiently. This is just how this right here. You're looking at the entrance. That back line is going to be all platinum units, which is the 815 square foot models. And these 4 units right here in the front, these are 4 silver models. Um, so that just shows you how it'll look. You can go to the next slide.
Okay, next question just popped in really quick. It says, what are the plans for marketing or pre-sale? I know you mentioned you paused pre-sale, but what are your plans for marketing?
We're gonna do the same. I'm gonna do the exact same thing that I did to go viral last time on social media. We're also gonna put them on and that's just an extra layer. Of course, we're gonna do all the traditional things, but I like to go with what works. So influencer marketing, we put these on these pages that has tons and tons of followers, and that gets the word out, and it just kind of caught on like wildfire. With the phones ringing off the hook, people want to buy units, investors want to buy units, and that's one of my key strategies is to get the investor units sold first, so they can create the comps. That's another reason why I don't have problems with appraisals, because we allow because we let the investors come in and set the comps first. So we don't have any issues with appraisals.
Okay, and I think you mentioned this before. It says, what is the minimum investment? Then I have a follow-up question as well.
Okay, the minimum investment is about 50K, because we're trying to really finish out this raise. And if you're interested, definitely reach out, and we can talk and make something happen.
Question is, will there be a max for investment purchase versus owner occupied?
A max for invest? Oh, yes, yes, yes. That's a great question. So only 15% of these can be rentals, and after that, you have to go on the waiting list. So at 15%, we're looking at about 7 units for investors, because we want to keep this a more 85% homeowner, to keep up with the fabric of the neighborhood. Me and my team wrote out the HOA. So there's a lot of things in that HOA doctrine that keeps me a part of this for a long time. We're going to give it back to the homeowners, but I'll still have a say so in a lot of stuff. So, for example, one of the things that I wrote in there, now, knock on wood, we don't want anybody going foreclosure, but if a house were to go in foreclosure, I get the first right of refusal to buy it back. And that goes back to me wanting to keep the fabric of this neighborhood intact. This project is named after my mom, so this is not one of those we're going to develop it and walk away and go down the street. We want to keep this up and have it stand the test of time.
Okay, question is, what's the ETA of the payout for investors?
That's a great question. So once we finish this deal, it usually takes about 30 days to get the money back or less, because this is the thing. As we're closing out the deal, we're not just starting to tally up everything. We're doing that the entire time. So 30 days just give us a cushion. But once we sell the last house, we'll be able to pay back all the debt. And that's the way we're gonna do our payback structure. We'll pay back all the debt first, and then all my equity investors will pay the equity investors, and then of course I get paid last. So that's kind of how we got it structured.
Okay, question is, are there any 55 plus senior tiny home communities planned?
Yeah, so I've been getting asked that a lot. So with the 71 units, we're actually going to have a lot of master on the main floor plans, because each of these floor plans I have now has steps. And when we playing basketball, I don't even like climbing steps. So I sympathize with that community, and we'll definitely have some ranch style options moving forward.
Okay, question is, will you self-finance a model or will that be through LPs as well?
Self-finance a model. Could you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, we'll circle back to the question if you can reiterate. I'm sorry, it's just kind of moving. It says, are you willing to share the HOA? I'd love the ideas. How do you prevent the HOA from becoming unaffordable and being mismanaged?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So one of the things, so we have solar lights throughout the community, so that's one less cost. We have group meters for the water, so you get an allowance for that, and just taking other different type. So they can go in and change the HOA, but I'll be part of the decision making as well. So even though I'm not running the HOA, I'm written into the covenants, so it doesn't go down the tubes.
Okay, so question is, yes, this is recorded. It will be uploaded to our YouTube channel later today. Also, you'll be able to find it on our website. So you'll get a copy of this as well. Circling back to the question, it says, will you self-finance a model home or will that be through LPs as well? So
Oh, so we'll basically have three model homes. We'll build one of each unit and we'll stage it and we'll do marketing around that model home. But as far as like self-financing, I mean, as we build it, that's gonna be what we finance it with the capital that we're bringing in. The staging of it, as far as the expense, we have a marketing budget, so that will fall under the marketing budget. So everything we spend is a line item on the pro forma.
Okay, if you can go to the next two remaining slides, and then we'll finish up the questions, and then we're getting close to the top of the hour.
Okay, so investor relations. A lot of time when people invest, they want to know, hey, how am I going to be updated? And make sure that the money is going where it's supposed to be going. So what I like to do, and like I said, we got about 900 videos on YouTube. I've been documenting my process ever since I was a realtor flipping houses. So you will be able to kind of see who I am, what I'm about, how I look at deals, how my mind works, and I think more importantly, we never lost money on a deal. And I've never had an investor who hasn't been paid back principal and interest. I hear a lot of people say, hey, we'll just get you your principal back. We've always paid back principal and interest because we've never lost money on a deal. Now, deals have taken longer than expected, but their interests have always kept accruing. The money never died. So we have an investor portal where you can go in and create your investor profile and choose which investment that you like. And it's pretty a seamless process. I just received the wire this morning. I went into the portal. I click confirm. They get an email. Everything is pretty much tracked. We create a paper trail, and when you're inside the portal, you can see and track your investment. So also too, we've had investors come do site visits, and we'll take them on a tour to see their money, where their money went. It's three phases of the construction process, which is the site work, construction phase, and then we'll have a grand opening event. We just had our groundbreaking event a couple months ago. Had a great turnout. Had some of our investors come there. One particular I know that came, and also too monthly updates. We send out monthly newsletters. We're active on social media. We're constantly documenting the process. So there will never be a time where you'll say, hey, I wonder what's going on with that project. It's so many avenues that you can go on to keep up with what's going on. And also too, I mean, we got solar cameras on site. We'll even give you the log into that so you can kind of watch it in real time. you know
Question is, do you have a successor that has your same vision, or a team that will take over your ideas on the HOA and your participation?
Well, yes. I mean, my team is very active. I mean, we move as a unit. I told myself I wanted to build like a Navy SEAL team, 6 or 7 specialists. My operations manager is a specialist. I got her. She used to work for the city, and she saw that I was getting given a hard time every time I came down there. So she reached out to a mutual friend and said, "Hey, tell Rashad I can help him." She started part time. After a year, I brought her on full time. So she knows the entire process of what goes on behind the scenes in those municipalities. So that's an advantage that she have. And also my partnerships person was an HR exec for T-Mobile for 20 years before she was laid off. So one, that shows me loyalty. She's not a job hopper. And two, it shows me that she's very capable in the HR space and with bringing in partnerships. She's always constantly bringing stuff to me. So we have a solid team that could be the successor if something were to happen to me. But everything's pretty much dialed in.
Quick question. It says 506B and C. Question.
Well, no, I do have a 506C, but that's not for this deal. I'm actually bringing that into play on my next deal, because when we start running ads for accredited investors, it's I now I have never ran a fund before, but with running ads, I'm trying to pivot to where I'm not chasing investors, and investors are coming to me. So we're putting out even more content, more educational stuff, just being more omnipresent, because it's a lot of people out there who would love to invest in our deals. They just don't know us yet. So in 2026, I'm trying to pivot from chasing and doing the leg work and doing all that stuff and having money come to me. So we do have a 506C, but that's not specifically for this deal. We're doing more syndication, and we're at the end right now, so we wouldn't want to switch that up right now anyway.
Understood. You can go to this slide here, and then we'll put your contact information up.
Okay, so this one right here just shows all the inquiries that we get. People want us to do it. in different states, buyers interested, realtors reaching out, asking about the different models. And one of the main questions that I get is, are there any models up right now? So with us finishing out this raise, this will allow us to start going vertical immediately. It's about a 2-week process for the building permits. I just met with my concrete guy yesterday. We can start laying all the concrete foundations for the first 10 homes, and we can start going vertical as well. So it's crucial, that we finish out this raise. I was on a meeting actually before this with some interested parties. So I think we'll finish it up pretty quickly. And if you're interested, definitely reach out. Because we'll pretty much be closing this out in the next week. You can go to the next slide.
Okay.
Okay, so this is if that QR code will send you to the investor portal, and you could create your investor profile, and I'll be able to reach out to you because I'll see every time someone signs up and create an investor profile, I get an email alert. So I'll be able to go in and check it out and reach out to you and see how we can make a deal happen. But at the top you got my company website. At the bottom you got the project website. Now, I know that's a lot. Trust me, behind the scenes, me and my team are working on a way to condense everything down to one website because you try to send people too many places, they won't go anywhere. So we're in the process of condensing all this into one site. But for right now, the project has its own website, and our company has our own website that'll give you like updates on our blogs and things like that. So that's my direct sale. I know this is going on YouTube. I hope I hope they don't spam me to death with them robocalls. I be scared to answer the phone every day when it's a number I don't recognize. Like, man, they finna try to. It's a robocall. So, I hopefully they get that under wraps soon. But yeah, that's my presentation. If anyone has any questions, I'm ready, willing, and able to answer them right here on the call.
Yeah, I have a couple more questions that popped in. It says, what's the total raise so far versus what is left?
So we've raised about $2 million to date. We had about $600K in soft costs. All of our vendors are paid up, and now we got about 1.4 million into the ground in infrastructure, and we got about another what's that? We got another 6 million to go. So one of the deals that I had with one guy was a $3 million line of credit, and as we sell houses, we pay them back, and then we replenish that capital that as we pay them back, we can keep using it till we finish out the project. But that's if you're coming with 3 million or something like that. But other than that, it's more debt, and that's how much we have left to go. It's a $8 million total project with a $12 million sales volume. We've already put 2 million into it, and just looking to finish it out.
Okay, a suggestion came in. It says, I recommend you keep a separate site for the project versus for buyers. I was able to link it through your company website when I went to it during the webinar. So that was just a suggestion. Another question that came in, it says, how do you pick your Navy SEAL team, and how do you help with the structure?
Man, that's a great question. I had to kiss a lot of frogs to get to this team. Like, you have no idea. I've had a team. I fired everybody. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna do it myself." And then Stephanie came along. Yeah, Stephanie laughing. She's laughing. Stephanie came along after I fired everybody else, and she came on part-time. And I was like, man, she's doing more than my full-time people were doing. So we hit the year mark, and I just told her, I said, I want you to come on full-time. But they had just promoted her at the city. So she said, I just started a new job. I said, what will it take? She gave me a number. I did it right then and there, because this is the thing. I saw if she was doing this part-time, what she can do if she had 100% focus full-time. So, like I said, I had to kiss a lot of frogs to get to this team. My general contractor, Gerald, he did, this is one of my childhood friends. He did 8 years in a federal penitentiary. And I started sending him real estate books when I was a realtor getting ready to start investing. I started sending him real estate books, and he started reading the books. And when he got out, he started shadowing me on all of my properties. Then he got his GC license. Um, the mayor had this program of where he would teach felons how to get their general contractor's license. So he got his general contractor's license. So now all he needed was the experience. I was working with a project manager at the time who was messing up. And so I fired her. I started giving him little small jobs. And that led to us building confidence. And now he's managing the whole $60 million operation on the general contractor side. So that's how I got my general contractor. And my partnerships person is actually my cousin. She was laid off from T-Mobile. I told her she should get in real estate. And then one day I thought of it. I said, man, I keep going on Indeed trying to hire everybody. Let me try my cousin out. And she's been phenomenal. So that's kind of how I got my team.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Rashad. Obviously, always great information, great presentation, great questions as well from the audience. What I will do is go ahead and go back to my slide just to kind of do a quick recap. I know we're over the time, so I want to be respectful of everybody's time. But if self-direction is something that you're interested in, meaning you want to use retirement funds to invest in real estate, whether that's something that Rashad mentioned on today's webinar, or you have an interest in just using retirement funds to diversify into alternatives in general, something outside of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, then I would highly encourage you to feel free to reach out to Advanta, consider us to be your preferred custodian. The process with us is actually pretty streamlined. It's pretty straightforward. 3 simple steps in that when you're ready to proceed, step 1 will be completing our application so we can get your account open, which is done relatively quick within 24 to 48 business hours. Once your account is open, you have an assigned account manager, someone who's going to be with you for the life of your account. So when you're ready to do that deal, they can work directly with you and your investment provider. Step 2 is funding the account. So whether you're transferring money from an existing IRA or you're doing a direct rollover from a previous employer plan, like an old 401k or 403b, or finally making an annual cash contribution, or a combination of all 3. And then ultimately, step 3 is making that investment. Again, is it something that Rashad said on the call that, hey, you have an interest in tiny homes, or you want to use your retirement dollars to invest in the likes of, a private equity deal, a syndication type deal. You get the option to be as creative as you want to when it comes to self-directing your retirement dollars. If you have questions or, again, want to do a consultation, you're always welcome to reach out to me. Go to our website, advantaira.com. You can give me a call or just, send me a quick email. And with that, any last words, Rashad, before we end today's presentation?
Yes, if anyone's interested in learning more, definitely reach out. If you got any questions outside of this webinar, I'll be glad to ask them. And also, too, for everybody on this call, if my team can drop this link one last time, the free link to the community, definitely come in, because we want to open up the back door to you all. We're very transparent. You can go in and see everything that's going on, how how I update everybody in the community of what's going on with our deals. And that just give you a grander look of who I am outside of being a presenter. So definitely check out our post-pro community where we're in there talking about real estate development every day, all day. And my IG tag, I think my team put it in there, is postpro_Shadzilla. I think Derek just asked what my IG tag was. It's postpro_Shadzilla. And I'm on LinkedIn as well at Rashad Jones-Jennings. And my YouTube is at Shadzilla, where we have over 900 videos. So get familiar with me. Oh, one last thing, Stephanie, Reneika, if you go to Passive Investor Masterclass, I did a 1-hour masterclass on how I look at deals, who I am, pretty much something similar to this, but we go into some other stuff. So if you go to passiveinvestormasterclass.com, that's my website as well, where you'll get a 1 hour and 20-minute overview of who I am, how I think, and how I look at deals.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rashad. Again, we appreciate you being our featured speaker. Audience, we appreciate you as always coming in and attending our educational webinars. And with that, I'll go ahead and end today's webinar. But I want to say happy investing, happy 2026, and we look forward to serving your self-directed IRA needs. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.